So my husband Sam was here in Rowans Hospice. We came here in, I think it was beginning of August 2021, and we were caring for him at home. He had bowel cancer, fought bowel cancer for about 7 years, and then in 2021 his bowel cancer came back, was a lot worse, and I was caring for him at home, which was his wishes. He wanted to be at home. And that was going fine for a while. We were staying on top of kind of symptoms and looking after him. And then I'd say in the kind of July, August time, he was quite unwell and I couldn't look after him well enough, essentially, even with people coming in. So originally he didn't want to come to a hospice, and I wanted to give him what he wanted, and his wish was to be at home when he died. But like I said, he was quite poorly, so we spoke to a hospice at home who were incredible, really helpful, very friendly, and they suggested coming in to the hospice just to get on top of his symptoms, to get him feeling well again, and then he could come home. So that was our initial kind of aim. And as soon as we walked in and we were shown his room, it just felt like a hotel, but like a really homely hotel, like somewhere more like home. Everyone was so welcoming and really looked after Sam, and after I'd say even 24 hours we were right on top of his symptoms and he was feeling much better. And after probably about a week of being in here, made the decision that Sam wanted to stay here, which was just a testament to how homely and lovely everyone was, that he decided this was the best place for him to be. So Sam, my husband, was 40 when he came to the hospice and when he died, and I'd say one of the key things about what we loved about being here was how well we were cared for, and like I said, we thought it was going to be a short visit, and we actually ended up staying for 3 weeks, but I was welcomed and I pretty much moved in for 3 weeks. And everyone looked after me as well as Sam. So I was given breakfast in the morning. And at night time, they'd help me to make up a bed in his room because I didn't want to leave him. And I was given a breakfast in bed, cups of tea brought to me all the time, biscuits. I'd have dinner here, and I went from being his kind of nurse at home to being his wife again, and that was really lovely. And we actually have some really incredible memories. So we almost had like date days here. So I'd come in, and once we were on top of the symptoms, which was really hard to do at home, he was more like himself for a few weeks. So we'd have a laugh, and he'd send me a nice text saying, "I'm really looking forward to you coming in." And I'd take him out in the wheelchair around the gardens, and we'd be brought tea by people. We'd play games sometimes, and we got into a little habit of watching Richard Osman's House of Games on the TV every night. And yeah, it became like a completely different part of what we hadn't had for a really long time, which was spending time together and not having to worry about his medications because he was looked after so well. He was given lots of gifts, so he kept getting these knitted socks, which he loved. So different knitted socks every day in different colours, and pink was his favourite. And I think that they were made by the community and people brought them in, but different coloured socks that kept his feet warm because his feet used to get cold. Finley, our son, was given a little gift bag when we arrived, and it had toys, books, sweets in, and he thought it was brilliant to come to this place and get given all these gifts. And we had one day which was really lovely where Sam used to love baths, so he'd have a bath every day, and couldn't have a bath for quite a long time, probably months before we came here. And because there's a special system in one of the bathrooms, the nurses basically give me the key but let me get on with it. So they didn't help, and I went in and they showed me how to use the system to get him into the bath. I did it on my own, and we had like a playlist going, and we had a really lovely time where I gave him a bath and washed his hair, and yeah, that was a really beautiful memory that I've got. God, I feel completely indebted to Rowans Hospice. If for me, it was I wanted to give Sam what he wanted, which was to die at home, but it was really difficult to stay on top of all the medications, and I felt like it was a choice between, really it would have been going into hospital, and that's absolutely what we didn't want. So I remember the day we were like, we'll go into the hospice, and I rang up and there wasn't a bed free, and I was devastated. I was like, oh, I need to get him in. And then really quickly Hospice at Home called me back. I think it was like less than 24 hours later, and there was a bed available, and it was such a relief to get him in. And I look back now on those few weeks that we had together and feel so grateful that we had that time together. It was so different from when he was at home, and I have very fond memories of the last weeks of his life, and I wouldn't have had that if he wasn't at the hospice. If it was at hospital, I think it would have been quite a traumatic end to his life, but we've got so many lovely memories as husband and wife rather than nurse and patient. So yeah, completely indebted to Rowans. And I think one of the things I'm most grateful for is, if Sam was at home and that was his wishes to be at home, when he actually passed, it's at that moment it's very stressful and it can be quite stressful for people, and I had people there. So as it started happening, I went and got some nurses. They came and sat with me and Sam, and they said then, it's happening. So I knew it was happening, whereas if I was on my own, I wouldn't have known that. And so I actually got onto the bed. They directed me. I was in a complete daze, and they just told me what to do, took control of the situation. So the nurse said, sit on the bed, sit behind Sam. So we sat him up. I was sat behind him, and he was taking his final breaths, and I was able to hold him. So I literally had my hand on his chest, and I had the nurses holding my hand and encouraging me to talk to him. And so I could talk to him and say goodbye and tell him I love him. And it was a really beautiful, beautiful moment. And I wouldn't have had that at home. I think I would have been panicking, and I would have been running around everywhere and trying to call an ambulance. Whereas what you want is to be with them and sit with them and experience their final breaths with them in a calm, lovely way. And I'm so grateful that I got to do that, and I had the incredible nurses with me telling me what to do. And that is something that could be quite traumatic, that actually for me is a really beautiful memory of mine, and I would not have had that. And I'm so grateful for having that experience here.